now going to continue working on the raccoon and primarily on his face. This will probably be the last session for working on him, although of course at the very end we may decide that we want to come back and do a little touch up here and there. So I'm working with the same colors as I did before, and what I'll be looking at doing here is finalizing the colors and also fine-tuning if I need to any of the shapes of the markings and so on the face. So I'm going to start with the mask, and here's our opportunity to darken it even more, working with black. So we're not aiming for a solid black. If we were trying for that, we could have just painted it solid black in the first place. So we're looking to add depth to the color, and also to refine the shapes where we think we need to do so. So over here, for whatever reason, I had stopped the dark mask right at the line of the stem of that of the holly, and that's not a good place to change markings on the raccoon, right at the area divided. Or I'm sorry, we don't want to repeat the line of that stem on the holly with the line dividing the black and the lighter colors on the raccoon. Okay, so working with the liner brush again, painting around the leaves. We just continue our work here. And before I go silent, let me just take a minute with you to decide what else I want to do with the black. So I don't like this line. I also think this shape should be coming down in a more rounded way, so I'll do that. And as far as changing this, I'm probably going to have to go back in with the light color from the outside, like so. And it may very well take more than one coat to successfully pull that edge between the dark and the light back. For good or not good, the dark colors seem more opaque than the light ones, so it's easier to extend the black area out into the light area than the other way around. So having said that about the mask, I'm going to go ahead and go silent so I can speed this up since it's somewhat tedious, and I'll be back with my voice in a little bit. Okay, next I'm going to work on the bridge of the nose, and all I really want to do is darken it, and I'm going to be using black. I'm going to be using dark burnt umber, maybe a little bit of burnt umber itself. I want the outer edges darker than the center. So I'm starting here with black around the edge. Okay, and then I'll move to dark burnt umber a little further in. Paint's too dry. Get some fresh out. I was getting too thick a stroke there. This is more like what I want. And come down. Like so. And then burnt umber. Okay. For the forehead, actually, I want to widen this light area above the mask a little bit. So let's start that first. And I think I want more of a point here of the lighter color. Likewise on the other side. So again, we're working with little strokes of the liner brush and just darkening certain areas and changing the shape where we think we need to. For the ears, I want to do a little bit of, I want to add more fluffiness here on the outside of the edge of the ears. And that's quickly and easily done with the liner brush. Over here it's not going to show so much because it's against a lighter background. Alright, now I'm going to take a shader or a flat and I'm going to just do a little side load of Mississippi Mud, which is my lightest brown. I'm just going to bring this color out a little more, like that. And that helps to push back that outer edge, the outer edge on either side, outside of the ears, and bring the center, these front flaps, I guess you call it maybe, of the ear forward. Okay. And I can, if I want, or if I think I need to, add a little more strokes of color. This is regular burnt umber. sometimes painting in layers like this can be kind of confusing if you don't really know exactly where you're headed in the end. So painting in layers, I think, is a really great approach, but you have to kind of think through ahead of time where you're starting and where you're headed and all that. And hopefully the photos in the PDF are going to help with that, as it shows kind of a time sequence. I'm going to, I noticed that the inside of this ear is not as dark as the other one. So I'm going to tuck in a little black right in the center. Or the center meaning the innermost part of the ear. Okay. Now what we need to work on is the crown. So I'm going to work with black, white, and probably Mississippi mud. The center stripe's going to be, we're going to darken that with some strokes of black. And then just kind of think behind the ears. Got too much paint on my brush. This could be darker over in here, so making it darker by adding little strokes of black that are spaced out more for less color and spaced more closely for more color. I hope I said that right. And behind this ear a little bit. And I think along this top. And then less closely spaced in this central area. I guess, one kind of way to think of painting in layers in general is that the first layer, you're going to establish your basic shapes of color. Create a real road map. This is where the brown is, this is where the black is, this is where the light color is, and so on. And then for the second layer, start building up texture and color as well. Enriching the color by adding a variety of colors rather than just one. So like a variety of darks, a variety of lights. And then from there, just keep refining. That's basic, the basic idea. And then, when you get towards the last parts of it, like we are here, you're just looking at it and assessing it and thinking, well, what would I like here? What would I like there? How am I going to place my colors so that my colors and my values so that I'm defining the form. Okay. I would like some white. I always feel like I want more white. And this line doesn't need to be like too much water. Doesn't need to be this defined. So we'll go over that line with some strokes of white. Okay, let me look now. I think I would like to get out a small brush. I'd like to see more life in these eyes. And I think one way I can do that is to add secondary highlight. We'll talk about that in a sec here. Okay, that's pretty good. So here's the deal with the primary and secondary highlights. The primary highlight is the really bright highlight that where the light is falling directly on the surface. It is usually a very sharply defined bit of light. So where the light is hitting the eye, the light's coming down, a lot of it's bouncing back, and that light that's bouncing back is what you see. It reaches your eye and you see that. But some of that light does not bounce back because this is the lens of the eye and it's clear, and so some of that light goes through. And as it goes through the lens, it diffuses and comes out the other side, opposite the primary highlight. But when it comes out, it's more diffuse and also less bright. That's pretty good. Okay, so now we've brought a little more light into those eyes. I don't like this. I don't know. I think what I don't like is this real sharp line here between the dark and the light. So let's see if that helps a little bit. I think that helps a little bit. And all that is some Mississippi mud that's side loaded onto this brush, and I think I'm also going to add some of that here where we have the fur from the shoulder tucking back under that facial fur. And I think also maybe down here at the bottom we're going to have that not be quite so bright. I think that's pretty good. Let me look again. I would like a little bit of that color, the very pale brown, behind these leaves. And we'll be painting her paw later after we do the greenery. Okay, I think that's better. Also, just gonna have a little shading on this side of that light fur where it's kind of tucking down. That's better. All right, and also I think I want that I want the forehead a little darker, and I think what I'm going to do is just take a little very pale wash of dark burnt umber. Oh, it's really pale. It's so pale you don't see it. A little more. Too much? Okay. I think it's time to add the whiskers. I was debating whether they would be behind these branches or in front of them. Actually, they'll be in front of these pine boughs. I'm going to paint the ones on this side because I think, okay, the paint's too dry. That's what I mean by a skipping kind of action on your brush. It's not laying down paint evenly because it's too dry. And when the paint's too dry, more water in your brush isn't really going to help. You're going to have to get out some fresh paint. So the whiskers on this side are going to come under these holly branches. That's why I'm painting them now. And I'll paint the holly branches over them. Ends, we don't want that bright. Do a little more white. That's that for now. And next we will work on the boughs of green.